Here's a bounty, 10,000 gold coins for capturing Uncle and Princess. Like a movie. Both had little plans in their hearts, looking forward to an adventure. Just when they were wandering around, the assassins decided to show up. Although they dodged a few assassination attempts, Uncle didn't want the princess in danger, so he had second uncle pretend to be an assassin and take him to the tribe. The chief found 10,000 gold coins, but tortured Uncle slowly in the dungeon instead of killing him, exactly what the brothers hoped. On the way to the dungeon, the brothers teamed up to take down the chief's minions, and Uncle quietly snuck into the chief's room for an epic showdown. He could have easily taken the chief out, but chose a friendly approach, giving him a chance. Turns out, the chief was no match for Uncle, and it was over in just At this time, Uncle showed mercy, hoping 2 pardons would make the chief understand never push your luck. The chief stayed silent but behaved afterwards. By now, Walter was still confused. If the chief gave up, then why didn't the princess end up with Uncle? Did she really have a change of heart? Second uncle had no answer and told Walter to ask Uncle himself. Just then, Uncle woke up and they quickly went silent. Awkward much? Uncle felt fine and wanted to leave the hospital. So they headed to a small restaurant. Just as they sat down, he couldn't help but start talking. Uncle was getting fed up with everyone around him, and it was like trying to spill a whole jar of spices. He just couldn't get it all out. He was sparring verbally with Uncle, but everyone else seemed totally zoned out, making his life a misery. Uncle wanted to let Uncle take action, but wouldn't you know, some thugs started acting up. This made second uncle furious. He knew today would be no mercy. Second uncle warned Uncle not to go too hard, but Uncle nodded and suddenly turned around, knocking a thug out cold. One thug was out like a light, and Walter finally realized Uncle could really take on 20, turning this battle into a total joke. A few thugs, faces swollen, were dragged home by Uncle. Right after, his relatives arrived again. Unbelievable. They were yelling that there were lions on the farm that wanted to eat them. Walter felt something was off, rushed to check the crates, and surprise, it was empty. Just then, he heard some commotion coming from the cornfield. Walter followed the noise, proving curiosity really killed the cat. After asking the relatives, the 2 elders learned that 2 mischievous kids had let the lion out of the crate. This scared everyone half to death. Everyone hurried to grab their guns, and in the distance, Uncle saw Walter chasing a lion into the cornfield. Everyone started worrying about Walter and began holding an emergency meeting. Just when they were ready to shoot your boy, what happened next? Turns out, ever since Walter fed the lion, it saw him as its human feeder. This turned out to be a false alarm. However, the relatives still looked tense and insisted Uncle should get rid of the lion. No lion, no visit. In response to such a reasonable request, Uncle said, not a chance. He was determined to keep the lion, which left the relatives fuming. As for the 4 thugs, he gave them a 45-minute lecture on politics, and then he let them go. Nice guy. That night, Walter saw Uncle sleepwalking again, so he bravely walked over and woke him up. No smacking this time. Walter directly asked about the princess. After a long silence, Uncle quietly revealed the truth, sending chills down Walter's spine. This ending wasn't Walter's fairy tale vision. Dissatisfied, he asked Uncle, is this story true? Uncle comforted him, saying there was no need to take it too seriously. Although the princess left long ago, she always lived in his heart. He even felt that from his fainting spells during the day, one day he would reunite with the princess. Upon hearing this, Walter suddenly realized everything was true. He could sense Uncle had lost interest in life, so he hugged him tightly. He pleaded with Uncle to live well, so when he grew up, he could teach him how to be a real man. Faced with Walter's sincerity, Uncle finally nodded. Shortly after, there were suddenly airplane parts arriving on the farm. Uncle wanted to seize the moment to fulfill his dream of being a pilot, planning to assemble a plane for a skyward escapade. Talk about excitement. Even though he hadn't had formal training, it beats living a boring, unnoticed life any day. So Walter and second uncle didn't stop him, but buying the plane drained their budget, making it a bit tighter at home. That night, second uncle had to go to the secret vault to get some cash, and Walter's curiosity was awakened again. He followed second uncle, only to stumble upon a shocking secret boxes full of cash stacked high in the vault. This was the hiding place for money his mother mentioned. If it were before, he would have rushed to tell his mother, but after being deceived the last time, he saw through her true colors. Discovering the secret of wealth didn't make him happy. Instead, it filled him with guilt. Then, not long after, his mother suddenly came to the farm looking for him. She brought along a boyfriend who claimed to be a cop and immediately asked about the money's hiding place. They claimed the wealth was obtained through greed by the two old men and needed to be confiscated completely. Walter immediately rebutted that it was bounty earned by a second uncle when they were young in Africa, not what they claimed. The man saw Walter knew too much but wouldn't speak, so he pulled him aside to intimidate him, but Walter was surprisingly calm. Walter managed to kick him where it hurt and was about to escape, but the guy caught him and gave him a good beating. The man kept demanding Walter tell him where the money was hidden, but Walter wasn't about to be bullied. Just when things got dire, the lion in the cornfield heard the commotion, saw Walter in danger, and sprinted over to take the man down. When the two old men arrived, they saw a person and a body lying on the ground. The lion, being old and frail, collapsed from the strain. Walter hugged the lion crying, and the two uncles comforted him, pointing out how proud the lion was for completing his mission. He was no longer just a big kitty. Remember not to forget to subscribe.